Hello doctors, in this video we are going to see 10 reasons that had persuaded me to read the book What Doctors Don't Get to Study in Medical School by Dr. B.M. Hegde. And here's one of the disclaimer that these reasons are given from the aspect of medical student. So let's get started with the video. So by looking at the title, you might be having two questions that do I have only 10 reasons to read this book? No. Literally I have lot of reasons to read this book, but just I am limiting it to 10 to 15 in this video. And why I am saying it in a student perspective? Because I personally believe that learning always starts from a student. So I am just targeting all the students hiding inside a doctor. So that is my main aim. So let's get in. So let's see about our author. He is Dr. B.M. Hegde and he is a cardiologist and professor of medicine, and he is active in every field of medicine like as an academician, clinician and a researcher, and even in 2021 he got Padma Vibhushan award, and I will explain how he had inspired me with by taking help of this quote, that is, good surgeon knows how to operate, better one knows when to operate, and the best one knows when not to operate. This last part had wondered how much wisdom and courage would be required when not to intervene. So, our author is one such personality who has the wisdom and courage, and his lateral thinking aspect regarding complementary and alternative therapies, and his idea regarding new sciences such as chaos theory, epigenetics, placebo or expectation effect, nanotechnology, all these things had literally inspired me to know in detail regarding the author and also the book. Next, I had landed myself in the content page, and literally the title of the content had grabbed my reaction like this. Let me show you some of the titles which I had seen with the same type of reaction this emoji is having. So first one, deschooling medical education. Then chaos, a new science. I was literally confused what it is. Is artificial heart a reality with a question mark? Antibiotic crisis, a time bomb. Women, moon and menses. And I was just thinking how moon got related with the women and menses. That was the curious thing going on inside my mind. And then last, health scare system. We know about the health care system, but this S added to the care had just made me got the reaction as I had already mentioned. Few more topics which had grabbed my reaction like that. The stethoscope song, then the greatest fraud of century, scientific superstitions. We know science had came to break out all the superstitions and myths, but how this topic had formed, literally scientific superstitions. And then barefoot walking and running. Just by looking at this title, literally I got inspired how to know how author had justified these titles in the text. So, as I was saying, by looking at the title and by going inside the book, literally that had created lot of things in my mind. Some things had questioned me, something had astonished me, and some had forced me to learn as I am deficient in that field, and some had taught me a lot, and some had reminded me a lot what roles I have to perform other than being a doctor, how much I have to be responsible in this society. These type of things had happened to me, and it is subjected to our experiences. So I think you also might be having some different experiences while going through the book, and I'm sure about it. So let's see. So I'm just giving you, as I had mentioned, only 10 to 15 reasons, and I'll be telling like what I got at the first sight by looking at those lines. It's just like a simple discussion. So I always believe in this, only if question arises then only the answers will be searched. So let's get started with the samples. So let me share with you the first reason, our first line that had grabbed my attention, that is top medical system and safer hygiene system have increased the life expectancy but not the lifespan. So, being a medical student, suddenly I got a doubt what is life expectancy and what is lifespan in an exact way. So, I just searched through it, and this is the exact definition. Lifespan is maximum number of years an individual can live, and life expectancy an estimate of average number of years a person can expect to live. So it is very clear that lifespan is a reality and life expectancy is just a statistical term. So this had created a question in my mind: if our medical system are not contributing to lifespan, then in what way we are helping the people to improve their life? That question had arisen inside me, and I have to search for the answer, and you people may be getting some other different type of reactions. Do share with us what you are getting by just looking at this line. So next thing which had grabbed my attention, that is Rene Descartes applied statistic linear mathematical rules in nonlinear dynamic universe. So as we know, Rene Descartes, he is a French philosopher and a great mathematician. The thing which grabbed my attention is this linearity and non-linearity. So the first thing which came in my mind was what is linearity and non-linearity, then how it is applicable in medical science. So these two things I just got in my mind, and I understood that I have to know a lot regarding the research and how things are getting applicable in medical sciences. That was the learning point I got from this line, and this had created me the curiosity to learn these new things of linearity and non-linearity. This reason I just found quite amazing. It was by Greek writer Poco. In his book India and Greece, he had explained that Greek civilization originally taken from India by Indians who migrated to Greece. So we all know that ancient civilizations were Greek civilization, Roman civilization, Indian civilization, everything we know. And we know another one thing, that all the medical sciences evolved from the lifestyle of those civilizations only. So this line had created a spark inside me whether the medical literature from the Western countries have any relationship with the ancient Indian medicine. This was the question that was going inside my mind. Literally, I have to search for the answer. And what you are getting by looking at this line, just comment below. Then, this was, I don't know what to say. Evolution of man does not simply follow Darwinian laws. So, so this had created a lot of question inside my mind. First one is what? Because whenever we are talking regarding the evolution, we used to think regarding Darwinian law only, like origin of species was the thing which will be coming to our mind. But if this line is saying that evolution of man does not simply follow Darwinian law, this is making us to think that we have to learn more what other things had contributed for the evolution other than Darwinian law. That was the learning point I got through this line. So we have to check out how things are happening, how it would have happened. So next, playing in mud resist more communicable diseases. So this literally had reminded me of a lecture by my teacher who had talked regarding the hygiene hypothesis, and we have to found how it is correlated, and if we are going through the book also we will be getting the answer. So I'm just creating some persuasion for you people to go through this book. That will be quite amazing. Next, what we have to focus. Unfortunate death of 3,000 people due to bomb blast in New York, are 540 million in malnutrition, and 680 million of people are below the poverty line in the world. Just by looking at this statistic, I was stunned. Every life matters. There is no comparison whether 3,000 people we have to focus are regarding the 540 million. But the point here, we have to do social health promotion. That was the first thing that came in my mind, because during my internship period, my teacher had taught me one of the best thing, how much I should be socially responsible. I was handling a patient for a skin disease. I was just treating the patient, I was asking the complaints, I was diagnosing the case, and I had given the medicine. My teacher had absorbed me completely. Then at last he told whether you had checked why the patient is obese, whether you had given any lifestyle modification regarding the patient's life. So these are all the questions, like I was just wondered whether I have to focus on it also. That was my initial period of practice. So that made me think that how much I have to be socially responsible. Even if a patient is coming to me for some other treatment, I have to promote health and lifestyle in every patient I am meeting. That was the thing which I had remembered by looking at this line, and literally every doctor, every medical student should have that social health promotion responsibility. So, physiologists could say how does the heart contracts, but would never be able to say why does the heart contract. Just by looking at this line, I also found some different perspective that I had not focused towards why things are happening. I am always focused towards how and how much it's going on. So this had created me new platform in my mind that I have to think why things are happening. Next question. This is literally, I don't know what to say. Do technology or bedside examination, which forms the integral part of diagnosis and treatment? So, in our day to day practice, I think we are moving more towards the technology. And this question had literally reminded me of the origin of medical science. Because in the origin of medical science, we also had read in the history of medicine that during those days there were no institutions to look after the patient. We have to go as a doctor, we have to visit all the patient's place, and we have to treat the patient in the bedside without any technology. But nowadays we are focusing more towards technology. So this had made things clear that the prime importance we have to give for the bedside examination, which will be helpful for the patient. This was the learning point I had got from this line. So I just found this study amazing. That is the Perspective Double Blind and Computerized Study in London showed that 80% of the accurate final diagnosis and 100% of future management strategies could be arrived at the end of listening to the patient and old records. Only 8% requires investigations. So literally this had made me very clear about the prime thing, that is patient history taking and bedside examination. So for example, in developing countries like India, if we are focusing towards this history taking and bedside examination, literally we can reduce the burden of investigation in an economical way also. So it will be helpful for the patient in economic basis. So this was the learning point from this study I just found, and I just made myself understand that I should be very clear while taking history and doing bedside examination. That was the learning point. Then the younger generation doctors is brainwashed to think that if laboratory reports are normal, the patient should be all right. So I think this somewhat I found relevant. Like if reports are normal, we will be saying yes, the patient is normal, and if reports are not normal, we will be saying these parameters are high, so we have to focus on this. Like that, we used to see. So as a medical student, I am just looking this from that perspective. And apart from that, I just found that we should have some clarity regarding what is average and what is normal. So normal, as I had told, it is a reality, and average, it is a statistical term. So if we are having the clarity regarding this normal and average, this statement can be understood in a very well manner. This title, when I had seen in the book, it had literally grabbed my attention. That is evidence based or evidence burden medicine. So, even before heading in detail with the text of the book, I just found something stacking in my mind, that how much a research thing is important for a doctor just to interpret the results of the research or to conduct a new research also. So, this is the learning point that we should have a good amount of knowledge regarding the research. So, this line, angiogram is indicated only as a prerequisite for plumbing and should only be done after the decision to revascularize is made on patient's clinical condition. So, this is clearly showing once the patient had not developed the revascularization, or if the patient had developed the revascularization, and even after that, if patient is not okay with, then we have to go for angiogram. That is the level of understanding as a medical student. So it is clearly reminding me of some words of Hippocrates, that he had told primum non nocere, that is, first do no harm. Like, we should know where not to intervene. Then only we will be preventing the patient from a harm. So that was the learning point. As I had told already regarding this chapter, women, moon, and menstruation. So, we all know regarding the circadian rhythm, but in this chapter, I found two amazing things. Those are ultradian and infradian rhythms. So, the learning point is infradian rhythm, which plays a major role in menstruation under the gravitational influence of moon. So, if you want to know how it is operating on the pituitary and everything, you have to check out the book, then only you will be knowing that in detail. I just found it very interesting to while going through this chapter. So, it's my kind request, if you want to know things more in a better way, go through this book and get to know about the lateral thinking of the author, and comment your opinions below as a lateral thinker. And thank you so much all.